Okay, so this is gonna sound crazy, but bear with me for a second. What if I told you that one rejected art student's personal drama basically became the blueprint for how to manipulate millions of people? I know, another Hitler video on YouTube, right? But here's the thing. This isn't really about Hitler. It's about you. It's about me. It's about how any of us can get our minds hijacked by someone who knows exactly which psychological buttons to push. Look, I've been studying this stuff for years, and what I discovered honestly kept me up at night. Because the techniques this guy used, they didn't die with him in 1945. They're happening right now, probably in your social media feed. So stick with me for the next 10 minutes. I promise by the end, you'll never look at politics, social media, or even your own opinions the same way again. All right, let's rewind to 1907. Picture this young guy named Adolf, yeah, that Adolf, standing outside an art school in Vienna, holding what's basically the worst rejection letter of his life, for the second time. What happens next is going to mess with 70 million people's heads, including maybe yours. Now, most people get rejected and eventually move on, right? Maybe they get therapy, maybe they find a new dream. But this guy, he turned his personal failures into everyone else's problem. And I mean everyone. Here's what's wild. He wasn't just some evil genius born to be a dictator. He was a failed artist who learned how to weaponize his own pain. Every rejection, every time someone made him feel small, every moment of humiliation, he turned it all into ammunition. And here's where it gets really messed up. Germany in the 1920s was basically a whole country having a mental breakdown. They'd lost the war, their economy was in ruins, people were literally using wheelbarrows full of money to buy bread. Imagine if your entire country felt like you do after getting fired, dumped, and kicked out of your apartment all in the same week. That's when Hitler realized something that should honestly scare all of us. When people are in pain, real, desperate pain, they'll believe almost anything if it promises to make the hurt stop and gives them someone to blame it for. So, what did he do? He built this incredible machine, not made of metal and gears, but made of lies, fear, and false hope. A propaganda system so sophisticated that it could literally change what reality looked like inside people's heads. And here's where this gets personal for all of us. That machine Hitler built, it didn't get buried with him in some bunker in 1945. I'm willing to bet you've fallen for at least 3 of his techniques just scrolling through your phone this week. Think about it, and be honest with yourself here. How often do you see politicians or influencers doing this stuff? Taking their personal beef with someone and making it about protecting the people? Giving you super simple answers to really complicated problems? Telling you all your problems come from one specific group of people? Making you feel like you're constantly under attack? Flooding you with so much information that you can't tell what's actually true anymore? Ring any bells? Don't click away yet. I'm about to show you exactly how this is happening to you right now. Look, I'm not trying to be dramatic here, but we've got a real problem. The same psychological warfare tactics that Hitler perfected almost a century ago are the instruction manual for wannabe dictators all over the world right now. And honestly, it's working. All right, so you're probably wondering, how exactly does someone's personal trauma turn into everybody else's nightmare? Let me break down Hitler's playbook for you. Fair warning, what I'm about to show you might make you question some of your own strongest opinions. Just saying. Step 1. Make your pain everyone's pain. So Hitler takes all his personal failures, the art school rejections, being broke, Germany losing the war, and he flips the script completely. He tells people, hey, these aren't just random bad things that happened. Someone did this on purpose. And psychologically, This is brilliant in the most twisted way possible. When you're hurting, hearing "it's not your fault" feels amazing. But when that comes with "and here's exactly who screwed you over," boom. Now your pain has a target. By the way, social media algorithms are using this exact same trick on you every single day. Step 2. Create your own reality. Enter Joseph Goebbels, basically Hitler's head of marketing, if marketing included genocide. These guys didn't just lie to people, they created an entire alternate universe where up was down and black was white. They controlled everything: newspapers, radio shows, movies, even what art people could see. Imagine if one political party controlled Netflix, Twitter, CNN, Fox News, Spotify, and Instagram, all at once. And these massive rallies they threw, they weren't political events. They were like psychological roller coasters designed to bypass your brain and hit you right in the feelings. They literally invented modern concert production and stadium marketing to sell mass murder. Hitler called it the big lie technique. Tell lies so big that people think, well, nobody would make up something that insane, so it must be true. Step 3. Make crazy seem normal. Hitler didn't wake up one day and announce, "Hey everyone, we're going to start killing people now." He was way smarter than that. Quick question, what's considered totally normal in your country now that would have shocked people 5 years ago? Instead, he moved the goalposts inch by inch. First, Jewish people couldn't work for the government. Then they couldn't marry non-Jewish people. Then they couldn't own businesses. Each step seemed reasonable compared to what had already been accepted. By the time trains were heading to death camps, the German people had been psychologically prepared for each escalation. Nobody woke up one day and decided to become a monster. They just got used to slightly more monstrous behavior, one tiny step at a time. That's how you get regular people, people like your neighbors, your co-workers, maybe even you and me, to go along with unthinkable things. You don't ask them to jump off a cliff. You just ask them to take one more step down a path they're already walking. Here's the moment that honestly changed how I see everything. What I'm about to tell you made me question every strong opinion I've ever had. And it's probably going to do the same to you. By 1939, Hitler had convinced millions of ordinary German people that reality was whatever he said it was. Jewish people weren't human. They were dangerous parasites. Starting wars wasn't aggression, it was self-defense. Mass murder wasn't genocide, it was protecting their families. Let that sink in. One guy's personal pain had literally rewritten reality inside millions of minds. The Holocaust didn't happen because Germans were naturally evil people. It happened because Hitler had figured out the science of mass psychological manipulation. And here's the part that kept me up at night. Psychological research shows that you and I would probably have fallen for it too. And he did this with 1930s technology, radio, newspapers, speeches. Now imagine what someone could do today with Facebook's algorithm knowing exactly how to make you angry, with deepfake technology that can make anyone say anything, with data analytics that knows more about your psychology than you do. Your smartphone has more data about what makes you tick than the Nazis ever had about their entire population. The tools for messing with people's minds haven't gotten weaker since Hitler's time. They've gotten terrifyingly more powerful. And the instruction manual is still sitting right there in history books. So, what's the takeaway? Hitler's rise wasn't really about German anti-Semitism or economic collapse. Those were just ingredients. The real recipe was universal and terrifying. But here's the thing that gives you power over every wannabe dictator out there. You now know exactly how they operate. Hitler showed that personal trauma could be turned into a weapon, that reality itself could be rewritten through really good propaganda.
that regular people could be convinced to accept horrible things through tiny steps. Once you understand how manipulation works, it loses most of its power over you. Every single time you spot these patterns, you're helping save democracy. Every time you fact-check something before you share it, every time you seek out viewpoints that challenge you, every time you choose understanding over hate, you're breaking the cycle that turns pain into persecution. You know what Hitler's biggest trick was? It wasn't making people hate. It was making them believe their hatred was love. Love for their country, love for their family, love for their people. Real love never requires you to hate somebody else.
Here's what you can actually do about this. These next 45 seconds might literally be the most important of your life. First, share this video, not for me, but because someone you know needs to understand this. Second, diversify where you get your information. If everything you see just confirms what you already believe, you're in a bubble someone can pop. Real talk, can you name 3 news sources you disagree with but still respect? If you can't, you're already getting played. Third, practice hitting pause on your emotions. Manipulators feed on rage and fear. When something makes you want to instantly share it, stop. Ask yourself, who benefits if I believe this? And finally, learn history, not just names and dates, but patterns. The people trying to manipulate you are counting on you never watching videos like this one. The ghosts of history are trying to teach us something. The question is, are we smart enough to listen? Hit like if this opens your eyes. Subscribe if you want content that helps you think for yourself. And remember, in a world full of manipulation, thinking critically isn't just smart, it's survival. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and stay human.